Lieutenant Ian McConnell has been a United States Coast Guard pilot for over 4 years. Stationed in Clearwater, Ian has flown missions over Miami, the Bahamas, and Puerto Rico. But after Hurricane Katrina slammed into the Gulf Coast on August 29, 2005, Lieutenant McConnell began a series of rescue missions he'll never forget.
I got a call early in the morning saying, stay at home, pack a bag, and be ready if we need you. And then Monday night or Monday late afternoon, I got the call to say, come in Tuesday morning at 3 a.m.
Lieutenant McConnell and his crew were given orders to fly to the Coast Guard Air Station in Mobile, Alabama, to receive fuel and more information. After arriving in Mobile around 7 a.m. Tuesday, they received instructions to fly west and assist where they were needed.
Well, we kept flying to the west just to search for damage, and then we started hearing these cryptic bursts of radio transmissions from Coast Guard helicopters that were already further west. And as we come to find out, they were in New Orleans hoisting people off of roofs. But we were far enough away that we could only hear little bits of their conversation coming in and out. And the conversations were like, okay, lady on a roof, or man waving a white blanket, or like water to the eaves, little snippets like that. And they piqued our curiosity, obviously, because they didn't jive with what we were seeing below us at the moment. So we just kept flying west and then arrived in the eastern part of New Orleans. The first people we rescued, we picked up from an apartment complex. There was a group of people in the apartment complex up on the third floor balcony waving big white sheets and getting our attention. So we hovered down into position, we picked up a big load, and we actually took them to the helipad at the Superdome. There were some times when we would land, and as the survivors exited the door out onto the dry ground, they turned around and waved at me. And one lady, I remember specifically one lady who had a small child with her, went out, and as soon as she was safely outside of the rotor arc, she turned around and waved at me, and I waved back, and then she gave me sort of a praying thank you kind of signal, and it was very encouraging for me to see that.
Thankfully, many New Orleans residents were able to evacuate. Bo and Andrea Bredeau lived just 2 miles from Lake Pontchartrain. They were able to leave just hours before the storm made landfall.
We weren't really prepared to get in the car and leave, but we knew we had to. And so basically we grabbed the things that we felt weren't replaceable, like pictures and minor things like that. And we got on the roads, and the roads were packed. I mean, traffic moved slowly. Cars were overheating on the side of the road because they were just idling for so long. You just really had no idea. We had no food in our car. We didn't have any of that because we didn't prepare to get on the road. We prepared to stay.
For 8 months, they stayed with family in Newport Richey. They've returned to New Orleans twice since Katrina hit to gather belongings and assist with cleanup efforts.
So we were able to go in and rip out the carpet, tear down the walls, get it down to where they could clean the mold that was on the foundation, clean that all up, and get it back to where they could put the drywall back up and move back in. To see how high the water was in places where we were working, one of the houses we were working, the water was over 8 feet, and so it was all the way up to the ceiling in these houses, and so we had to tear from the top all the way down. And we met both of the owners of the houses, and they were just so grateful that someone was willing to help them just to get their lives back in order.
So what would happen if a storm like Katrina were to ever hit the Bay Area? Well, for that, we went to Pinellas County's Department of Emergency Management and spoke with Director Gary Vickers.
There will be damage to all of the major infrastructure. There will be damage to a lot of homes. Everything won't be completely flattened, but in the areas subject to storm surge, particularly the barrier islands and the low-lying coastal exposures, there is going to be very, very severe damage. In fact, structures completely destroyed, very much like what we saw with Katrina. We'd see those same kind of effects here. We would not have the flooding like New Orleans experienced because that was related to the collapse of the levee system, and we don't have anything analogous to that here. But the impacts would be catastrophic, and it would take us a long time, years in fact, to get Pinellas County back to where we were before.
So what can you do to prepare? Well, start with a family communications plan, which includes phone numbers of friends and relatives. Second, pack a storm preparedness kit with at least 3 to 5 days worth of non-perishable food, water, and other necessities. Plan for your pets as well, keeping in mind that most shelters will not allow you to bring in animals.
We're trying to get the word out to our residents that it's their responsibility too. You cannot rely on government to do everything for you. You need to be a part of the solution. You're the one that can best decide what is the appropriate action for your safety, for your family's safety, for your comfort and your family's comfort. So we need every resident to accept that responsibility and do what they can to provide or plan for providing for their own safety.
One more note about your family's communications plan. Write down a few phone numbers of out-of-town friends or relatives on index cards. Give one of those cards to each member of your family. You can even put those cards inside plastic zipper bags, keep them safe from water. Those phone numbers are how your family can reestablish communications should you become separated during an emergency. Another idea, pack a small bag or cooler with a few snacks and drinks. Leave it by your front door. That way you'll have something to hold you over in case you have to leave your home quickly and unexpectedly. The bottom line here is having a plan is the key to your family weathering a storm. At the U.S. Coast Guard Air Station in Clearwater, I'm Brandon Graham.